So as you can see, we have the chart of Ariadna in La Paz, Mexico, on the Baja Sur. Just a short time after uploading my video, I received a message from Ariadna, and what I want to share really quickly is that Ariadna is like Wonder Woman. She has in her chart, excuse me, a stellium, which is a group of 3 planets or more in 2 different houses. I have a stellium of planets in my 9th and 10th house, but with Ariadna, she has 1 stellium of planets in her 2nd house, another set of planets in her 8th house. And again, just for the sake of the video, this is going to be really quickly, really short. So with the 2nd house, it's concerning values, things that you care about, belief systems, and as well, it involves income, the type of things that bring you income. With those 2nd planets being in her 2nd house, it actually gives her a lot of activity, as in lessons to learn, things to initiate, things that she might use as a goal for herself towards generating income. But it really starts with the belief system, and not just so much, going to get a job. That's more the 6th house and other placements, other planetary placements. So when you think of the 2nd house, you want to think of your personal development. The 1st house being about yourself, your own personal individual development as you, the individual, the human being. And the 2nd house has to do with those belief systems that we carry around for ourselves. And as well, again, the income making portion. The 8th house, which is the opposite house actually, is about other people and about intimacy, about trust, about shared resources. So when you kind of look at those 2 houses, especially since they're opposite to one another, it either becomes a balancing thing or it becomes a tug of war type thing. Now, with most of her planets being in those 2 houses, it leaves just a few other placements, like Pluto being in her 12th house in Scorpio, and she also has Moon at the bottom of her chart, and Jupiter in her 6th house. Jupiter in her 6th house actually goes again towards that 2nd house placement, because Jupiter is about expansion, it's about growth. A lot of times astrologers will call it like the luck planet, as in good luck, but it's not so much that. It has more to do with expansion and growth and development. So again, that 6th house placement with Jupiter actually goes really well with your 2nd house in terms of what are the things that you value, Ariadna, in yourself. What are those things that you believe about yourself, that you can invest in, that you can charge, that you can reset, that you can highlight. The 6th house being about routines, about your daily work. Every day I go to work as this. I'm a secretary, I'm a doctor, I'm a teacher, I'm whatever. So the routine portion of in the 6th house is what it's actually asking you to do. Develop a routine. You do have a placement in the 5th house, which is your, I'm forgetting what it is right this second. And I'm sure you can look at it when your chart. The 5th house placement has more to do with your creativity. So you definitely want to start doing something that's creative, something maybe that you do with your hands. It could be baking, it could be sculptures, it could be sewing, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, that number 1 is an investment for you, so that later, 8th house, you can turn that into an investment into others. But it has to start with you first. Absolutely has to start with you first. You have Chiron in your 8th house, and it's in Gemini, and it's kind of close to the end of Gemini. With Chiron being in your 8th house, that wounded healer, that portion of healing where you're able to be a benefit to others, Gemini makes it want to swing back and forth, swing back and forth. And 8th house being a large house that has, again, to deal with intimacy and trust and shared value and things like that. There's things that you might be tied to that you probably don't want to be tied to anymore, or things that you're tied to that cause you a headache and stress. And so you kind of want to limit that swinging to a very small window. And you can do that by the 6th house of routines, by picking a few things that you're very good at, or things that would challenge you, things that really, 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 really draw in your focus. Like you have to pay attention to it. Like sewing, you can't just sit there and be like, la, 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 la. You have to really pay attention to the details of sewing and figure out, okay, this is what I'm doing. You don't want the needle to go through your finger. You don't want to sew a wrong stitch. You don't want to, be creating some foolishness. So you want to find something that really draws in your focus and allows you to not swing so much. Swing emotionally, swing from job to job, swing from, person to person in terms of relationships in your family. Like if you have, or friends or whatever, like if you're, 1 week you're over here doing this and then the next week you're over here doing something else that's completely crazy, and it ends up feeling like a waste of your time or a waste of your energy. So a lot of this that I'm speaking of is energy related. It's not so much the function of what you're doing. It is energy related in that you have to find that focus, that routine that really speaks to you, that really feeds your energy, that feeds your values and makes you feel wonderful and powerful. Why do I say that? Because you have at the very top of your chart, the midhaven in Leo. You have this glamorous Leo, 10th house, 9th house portion at the top of your chart. And you have Mars in Leo at the very top of your chart. Other than Mars, you don't really have anything else at the top of your chart until you get all the way to the 12th house with Pluto. So you are moving towards that warrior inside of you, which is why I say Ariadna is like Wonder Woman. And think of this picture. You have Wonder Woman who, comes onto the scene, and she may be dressed in plain clothes in the beginning. She's kind of just going around as Diana Prince, checking to see what the scene is going on. She's sitting at a coffee house. All at the same time, she's kind of like people watching. And the thing I'm going to apply to you, Ariadna, in this Wonder Woman character is that you're people watching and you're kind of looking for people who are very genuine, not just flashy or well-dressed or, loud and, drawing attention to themselves. But if you ever go people watching, like really look and see and try and decide for yourself what people are genuine when you look at people walking down the street. Genuine will draw your eye inward. When you kind of observe that person, you'll start recognizing, oh, I really think this person is genuine because of this, 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 and this. So you kind of want to play that game with yourself. In doing that, Diana Prince, Ariadna, is, sitting around and she's in a cafe drinking coffee or whatever, but there's some excitement that pops off. Criminals come into the scene or whatever, and you have to take action. And bullets start flying. And as we all know, with Wonder Woman, whenever bullets start flying, she has those bracelets. She doesn't really go into a whole lot of dramatics like, oh my God, someone's shooting bullets. I have to, do all this other extra stuff. She basically, if you will, sometimes will put herself in between the bullets and people that may be hurt, or just in general, people that are shooting at her. These bullets are like emotional triggers that will come at you from various directions. And it's something that you're always going to have because you have that Chiron in Gemini in your 8th house. Other people's stuff, other people's problems, pains, emotions, etc. are always going to affect you. But you have to learn to kind of block them out in a way. And you don't have to go into a lot of dramatics or take on their stuff and walk down the path with them. What you really do is take that thing that we're talking about, that routine, that focus, And you first say, wow, I am amazing and beautiful and wonderful and great. And you use whatever that energy is with whatever thing you want to tie it to: baking, knitting, giving someone a ride in the car, whatever you want to tie it to. But figure out what those things are, so that number one, you know how to invest in yourself, and number two, you can in turn use that investment, that joy that you have, that love that you have for yourself, and invest that or share that with other people, because you're destined to share with that eighth house placement. So Ariadna, I'm going to stop right there and allow you to be Wonder Woman for the rest of the day. If you want to look at this message over and over again, I appreciate it. Share it. Ariadna basically sent me some information. She sent me her birth date, her specific time of birth, the city where she was born, city, state, and country in her particular case. And of course, I know her name, and she shared her email. So if I want to share more details with her, I can. She's representing her worth by becoming Wonder Woman. And thanks, Ariadna, for allowing me to share this with you. There's so much more to it, but those things are basically what we want to share with you to help you be a more well-rounded, powerful, amazing woman, because you are. You are that already. But just find those things, use them to your benefit, and grow. Okay? Love you. I will talk with you all later. Thanks for sharing this time with me. Representing Worth. My name is Douglas Hill. Speaking from higher consciousness today. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.